Hi, guys. Welcome back for another episode of Gossip Girlies. I'm Cassie,
And I'm Kristen.
and we, of course, would be doing the world a disservice if the first thing we didn't talk about was basically the thing that has you don't even have to be a huge Bravoer or a
Mhm.
huge Vanderpumps fan to have heard about Mr. Tom Sandoval holding us tightly by the neck right now.
As someone who is very firmly not a Bravo follower, I have seen nothing but Vanderpump gossip and seen so much stuff about all of these people who have been watching Vanderpump all along and are now like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened. I have
Yes.
no idea what's going on slash happened. So you're going to have to walk me through this as if I'm 5 years old.
Okay, first I will apologize for the dog fight that is going on in my apartment complex in case you guys can hear that, and the retaliations of my 7-pound dog trying to join in. Um, but what I will say is I did watch Vanderpump Rules in the beginning. I did, and I really liked it. It's just fun to see because it's like literally these people who just worked at Lisa Vanderpump's restaurants and like they just put it on TV. Like these are like literally Joe Schmoes off the street. Like they had no, like, of course they were all in Beverly Hills, LA, like because they wanted to be famous, but like they
Mhm.
were just serving up fucking cocktails at Pump and
Okay.
Sir.
Okay, so it's kind of like the same concept as Below Deck, where it's just like these
Yes.
regular people, but it's like the drama of their lives.
Exactly, because they're all
Okay.
just such a hot mess, like just
Hmm.
such a hot mess. So I honestly stopped watching probably around the time that Stassi left. I know that she was a bit problematic. She got canceled there briefly for some racist comments. So RIP Stassi. She's about to have her
Hmm.
second baby. So I think her and her husband are doing fine. So that's great. But that's probably I really liked Stassi. She was like sassy, kind
Uh-huh.
of mean, kind of a bitch, but also like she had a very similar sense of humor to us, like very dry, sarcastic, a little bit dark. So I
Okay.
think that's why I enjoyed her presence on the show. So I haven't watched in a couple of seasons, but these are all the same characters that have been on since the beginning. So in case you literally live 1700 million light years away and don't know what I'm talking about, this week it broke that Tom Sandoval cheated on his girlfriend, Ariana, of either 9 or 10 years with Raquel.
Are
Excuse
these
me, we're calling her Rachel now. She's Rachel.
okay? Are these all restaurant employees?
So, yes, the majority of them are. So, Tom was an OG.
Okay.
He's been a bartender at I think he was at Sir. He started at Sir. And now with another Tom on the show, which I understand is quite confusing for an outsider, they usually call him by their last name. So this Tom in particular that is accused of the cheating allegations is Sandoval,
Okay.
and the other one is Schwartz.
Okay.
And so they do have a restaurant now together with Miss Vanderpump called Tom Tom. And they have another one too, but I hadn't ever heard of it, so that's kind of irrelevant. But anyway, so Tom Sandoval was an OG. He had been on the
Hmm.
show since it started. Ariana, his girlfriend of 9 years, I can't remember if she worked at another restaurant of Lisa's that wasn't on the show or how she got into the Sir mix, but essentially they brought her over to Sir to work as a bartender as well. So they've been dating pretty much since Ariana showed up on the scene. Now, Miss Rachel, aka Raquel, has never worked there, but she dated another problematic individual, James Kennedy, who was a DJ at Sir and got fired about 700 times, but that's beside the point. And so that's how she got her way into the friend group. She never actually worked for Lisa,
She's
though.
like a groupie, a restaurant groupie.
A groupie is an understatement. Like literally would show up to Tom Tom. Actually, recently showed up to BravoCon in a Tom Tom sweatshirt. Like, girl, like I don't even know why she stayed on the show. Like her and James got engaged, but they broke up. Like what are you doing here other than
Yeah.
being thirsty?
Yeah. So she's just a menace. And
Yes.
so Tom cheated on her recently?
So she actually just like when we found out, Ariana found out. So like it's been like a week that Ariana has known this. They also own a like $2 million home together that they bought somewhat recently.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
there were actually some details that were revealed that I thought were quite scandalous. Um, so of course, Miss Rachel, I'm not calling her Raquel anymore. I'm sorry. Okay, so essentially her real name is actually Rachel, but she
Mhm.
changed it to Raquel to be more interesting on the show.
Okay. I feel like that says a lot about her character. So thank you
Exactly.
for giving us that insight.
Yes. So basically, the timeline that we're working with is that they started the affair last summer.
Oh gosh.
So, gosh, where to begin, really, truly, where to begin? So, according to producers, they have filmed a conversation between Sandoval and Ariana.
Mhm.
Ariana left the conversation saying that she felt very gaslit, that he wasn't really actually being apologetic, that he wasn't really owning up to anything. Essentially, he said the reason that he didn't tell her was two reasons, and both reasons are absolutely ridiculous. The first one being that she had lost her grandmother at the end of, well, summer-ish of 2022, September, and he was concerned about her mental state.
Hmm.
And the second one was that they had just bought the house together and he didn't want to, deal with all that.
So he went forward with buying the house.
Yep. Yep. And he just was like, oh, I'm cheating on her, but we have a home together. I just can't break up with her.
So how do we feel about Ariana? Like, is it double as bad because we really love her, or what's the deal?
I will say I didn't love Ariana, but she's definitely a fan favorite.
Okay.
A lot of people do like Ariana. And Miss Lala Kent is putting her neck on the line for Miss Ariana. Let me tell you. Oh my gosh, she's ready to fight a bitch, is basically, and oh, Lala Kent will fight a bitch.
Yeah.
She's definitely a little scary. So if I was Rachel, I would be mortified. Um, so, basically they had that conversation. His apology that he like made public was basically like, hey, I know that I fucked up, but like, can you leave my employees alone? Like, can you stop? Like, apparently one of his business partners is trying to leave the restaurant because of
Oh.
this. Apparently, like Schwartz, which is the other Tom, and like his other friends and employees and stuff are being harassed because of this situation.
Mhm.
Never did he say, I'm so sorry to my girlfriend of 9 years, or I made a mistake, or I'm
Hmm.
so sorry. None of that. No, it
Mhm.
was just, please don't bother my friends and my employees and my business partners.
Wow. Okay. Um, so do we have any indication of where the relationship is gonna go from here? Like, are they gonna reconcile or what?
Okay, so allegedly, what we heard earlier in the week was that they were going to try and have a relationship. He was spotted after filming at Rachel's apartment, like this past Saturday, all of that. But
Wait, he was at Rachel's apartment?
yeah, they're trying to move forward with this whole relationship. Like he's leaving Ariana and he is going to be with Rachel,
Oh.
aka Raquel.
Oh, see, that's okay, okay, because that's what I was trying to understand is that like he doesn't say I'm sorry, but like is she gonna stay with him? But obviously not. Like they're done.
Yeah, they're done. But so a newish development, I'm not entirely sure what this is gonna do for the two lovebirds, but so Rachel, aka Raquel, and Sandoval apparently shared a PR team, probably because all of the Vanderpump Rules people just like went to one PR team and were like, whatever.
Mhm.
And she actually fired them. I read the post today, but I'm not sure that it was actually posted or released today, this information. So
Mhm.
in the past, I would say like 1 to 2 days, she fired them and hired a new PR team who is apparently Ariana, just to back up a little bit. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting scatterbrained, but it's just like so much stuff.
Right.
So Ariana found out because she found some inappropriate texts between Raquel and Sandoval,
Mhm.
including a recording of a spicy FaceTime between the two of them.
Okay, I think I can use my imagination to determine what that might be.
The term, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say this on the internet, but finger banging was used in the description of the video from people who saw it. But essentially her team is basically being like, this was taken without her consent. Some people are,
Rachel's team is saying that?
yes, they're saying that she did
Oh.
not consent to this FaceTime being recorded. She did not know that it was recorded. So there's kind of two sides. Like people are saying, like, oh, this is typical Raquel, Rachel. Like she's trying to play the victim in the whole situation now that everything's blown up. But then, of course,
Yeah.
there are people who are like, oh, but like she is a victim. Like she didn't know she was being recorded. Like this is illegal and all this kind of stuff. And I'm kind of torn, honestly, because I'm like, yeah, that's fucked up that he would record that. But also at this point, it's like, do I believe her that she didn't know she was being recorded? Or is it just because people found out?
So is that what they were texting about too? Was like that she did not know that he was filming? Like, what
No.
was the context around the video?
So I guess Ariana, like, once she saw the text messages that were like inappropriate between them, maybe she went to like his photos or something to see if he had like any pictures of them together and
Okay.
found the recording of their spicy FaceTime.
Yeah, I mean that is shady. That is shady, but obviously she's not hurt to the point where she's not going to be with him.
Well, the last time we saw them together was, or at least, we saw him leaving her apartment was Saturday. I don't know that the two have been seen together since.
Mm-hmm.
Raquel has definitely made no public anything. She has not said anything. She has not done anything. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't really know where she's at this point. Um, and also, before this whole thing blew up, there were actually rumors that she was trying to get together with the other Tom. And so
Oh
it's one of
my
those things
God.
where it's like, okay, so you were literally having an affair with Sandoval, who has been
Mm-hmm.
dating someone for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And during that period, you thought, it might be a good time to like see if me and Schwartz can get together now that he's divorced from his wife, who he had been with for 12 years. Like, make it make sense,
What?
make the math, like none of it is coming together. So at this point I'm just like, I think Raquel is batshit fucking crazy, which I will
Yeah.
say I felt from the beginning. She's one of those girls. Kristen, have you looked at a photo of her?
No. Should I?
You should, because
Okay.
you look at her and you just immediately know, you're
You
like, do
just
not get this bitch pregnant, like she will ruin your life.
Rachel Vanderpump. Oh, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the
She's
fact that she was even dating James Kennedy and was willing to be engaged to this man, like Kristen, he was nuts. Like absolutely fucking nuts. Like we should have known if she was willing to marry this man.
Oh yeah, I'm
She
looking at
ain't
a
right.
picture of him now with like the really defined like cheekbones.
Yeah, he's like British or something. I don't know, but I mean, he's nuts.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I get a lot of chaotic energy from her. Oh
Oh,
yes.
indeed. Indeed.
So back to like the two Tom situation, I
Hmm.
wonder how that went down. Like, I mean, I'm assuming she cut it off with Tom Schwartz, but it's like, thank you for your attention, but now the one that I want is actually going to be with me. So like, ta ta.
It's like one of those things where like all of this information is so crazy that I'm just like, did Sandoval tell you like, hey, maybe hit on Schwartz so people don't get suspicious about us? Or like, did they get into a fight and she was trying to be like spicy and that's why he ended up having to tell Schwartz that they were dating or whatever? It's
Yeah.
just, it's too much. It's too much.
This is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me. So all of this will be featured on the show. Is that
Yes,
right?
they're recording it right now for, I think it's season 10.
Okay. Where do they live? New York?
No, it's Beverly Hills.
Okay. Okay.
So
So,
LA, whatever.
so do they also have a lot of like Beverly Hills personality to them?
Yes and no. Tom Sandoval, this is no man to be ruining lives over. Like, there was a point where this dude literally had like a full ass like Pepe Le Pew, like the cartoon skunk whole hairdo. It was like literally shaved on his right side, and he had like a whole thing, and it was like down to his shoulder, and it was like dyed black with like one
Lord.
blonde streak in it. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
You said it looked like a skunk?
Yes, it was. Hold on. I now I have to show you this picture because you're just gonna like. Let me see. I wonder how I could even look this up.
I mean, sometimes I do feel bad for men because they can be. Now there's a dog fight happening in my apartment.
Oh goodness, the world is
Um,
falling apart.
Men are like kind of limited in what they can do with their hair. So, I can get down with a creative hairstyle, but not a
No, not this.
skunk.
Not this. Trust me.
I'm excited to see what you're
I
about to
know.
show
I'm
me.
like, I don't even know. I'm like Tom Sandoval, black hair side swoop. Like, I'm like, I don't know what to put in to
I
find
love you.
this. Okay, let's see if
That
I
is
can.
hilarious. Well, even just looking at pictures of Rachel, I can see that she has changed throughout the
Oh
years.
yeah, she's definitely had some work done.
Between work and hair coloring, like she almost like you can't even
Oh, this
like
isn't even a
tell
good
that's
picture.
her.
Oh my god, like this is literally him.
Oh my god.
That's not,
Oh
that's not
my
even a
god. And
good depiction of it, I feel like.
the other side is shaved.
Yes.
Stop.
This is like tragic.
It looks
This
like a mop.
also this is him um when he dressed up like a woman. So as you can see, this is no man that deserves women fighting over.
I was gonna say this is the man who we're fighting over.
I know this is a disgrace to womanhood.
So there's no way, like, they're not like waiters still, are
Oh,
they?
oh yeah. Like they're
They're
still
still
like
waiters?
yeah, like they're still bartending and stuff at Sir, like as
So
far as I know.
they're still like average Joes, kind of?
I mean, yeah, like the Toms, of course, have since opened their own businesses or whatever. And I guess they're like
Hmm.
influencers and things. But I imagine, I mean, like I said, I haven't watched the show in a little bit, but I have to imagine that they're still involved in the restaurant somehow. Like, what would be the
Yeah.
point of continuing Vanderpump Rules when the whole premise was that they worked for Lisa Vanderpump if they no longer work for Lisa Vanderpump?
Yeah. I just didn't
I'm
know
not sure.
since like they started in like service positions, but now that they're like pseudo famous,
Yeah,
if
I
they've
mean,
like moved on to
maybe.
bigger and better things. But that would, like you said, like that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah. So maybe I'm honestly not sure. I haven't watched in a while. But they're also talking about
Interesting.
bringing. Oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, Kristen, I wish you watched the show because they're trying to bring Kristen back. On Kristen Doty is her name, and that bitch is fucking crazy. She dated Sandoval for years and years and years and years and years, and cheated on him with his best friend.
Wait,
But
before Ariana?
oh yeah, before Ariana, yeah.
Wow.
This man, might I add, this man is almost 40 years old. He is 39 years old.
And he's already had 2 9-year long relationships with
Yep, and he's
women.
about to start another one with Miss Raquel, who I believe is our age, 28.
Oh my gosh. Honey, you need to settle down.
I mean, can you imagine acting like this at 40 years old?
Yeah. I mean, every relationship is different. Who am I to say? But like, it is kind of a red flag too that he's been dating her for 9 years and like hasn't put a ring on it or anything. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, and some people are, just like straight up, I don't want to get married ever. I respect that. But it is kind of sus. Like
Yeah.
after 9 years, you don't want to do, well, I guess they had this house together.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what was binding them together. But still, it's just weird after such a long time.
I know. None of it makes sense, honestly.
But I mean, if he didn't want to dissolve a mortgage, he obviously wouldn't want to dissolve a marriage.
He's like,
So
thank God I didn't marry the bitch.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So it seems to me then that this is a what are they like an ongoing situation where like
Yes.
it's like the fact that you're saying things that like we're just now hearing that such and such is happening. So
Hmm.
this might be like a long-term ordeal.
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, it really just broke like a couple of days ago. Maybe it
Mhm.
was this weekend. I can't remember exactly. But,
Yeah.
there's going to be so many people that we're just like sitting here waiting to hear from. It's like, Sandoval, are you actually going to say something worthwhile? Like, Raquel,
Yeah.
are you going to say anything? Like, is the production team going to make y'all stay quiet until the show comes out? I
Mhm.
don't really know, but it seems like a lot of information is leaking just because, I mean, we heard about the finger banging. So I feel like, there's a leak in the camp and we're going to get what we can.
Yeah, yeah. It's incredible though, just like all of the people that I've seen like coming out of the woodwork to talk about Vanderpump. Like I've been seeing it everywhere. Like Chrissy
Mhm.
Teigen posted something about it. Well, she's just like a big Bravo girly.
Yeah.
I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers today. Someone is asking her, like, oh my God, what do you think of the Vanderpump drama? And she's like, I haven't watched that in a while. I don't know, but maybe I'll start watching again.
I mean, as soon as season 10 comes out, you best believe I will be watching it. I mean, I won't
Hmm.
be catching up, so to speak, but I will definitely be watching the new season.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for this primer because I feel like all this information that you have given me, it will give me the background that I need to like follow the tea from here.
Yes, yes, of course. Love to
Um,
lay a good nice baseline.
so it is my understanding that you have recently watched a certain murder documentary. Is that true?
Indeed, it is.
Would you like to tell us about your experience?
I would take great pleasure in doing so.
Go off. The mic is yours, Queen.
So we're talking about the Murdaugh murder documentary. What was it called? Murdaugh
I
mystery.
think it's
Murdaugh
just like
murder.
yeah, something like that. I can get the real title.
Anyway, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I
Wow.
thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like it also kind of provided so much context to even the trial and just it's like we all knew like Paw had been accused of killing a woman and we had heard that there were other murders kind of tied to the Murdaugh family, but like I
Hmm.
just didn't have full understanding and context to it. So watching this documentary, it just opened my eyes to everything.
Yeah, so it's called Murdaugh Murders, a Southern Scandal.
Okay, I was so close. I said Murdaugh murder.
Yeah, it had something to do with that.
One thing that
Um,
I must address before we get into it, though, is why is this man's name spelled Alex? His name is Alec.
yeah, and Murdoch too. I don't know.
Yes.
I think it's just because like I think their accents have a lot to do with it, the way that they say it, because they say it like Elec,
Because
like
I
it's like an E
remember,
almost.
I feel like the first time I heard about like the actual trial coming about, I kept hearing Alex Murdaugh. And I was
Hmm.
like, who the hell is Alex Murdaugh? And then I finally heard someone say Alec Murdoch. And I was like, oh, that guy. It like clicked
Yeah.
to me. And I thought maybe watching the documentary, I was like, this is where we're going to get clarity about how the hell you say this man's name. And every single one of them said Alec Murdoch.
Yep. Yeah. I really like I couldn't care less about the pronunciation. I know some people are like the YouTuber I was talking about, she's very much into like calling him Alec Murdoch because that's what he says his name is. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's just I'm an English speaking human where if I say like if I read that like that, I'm gonna say Alex Murdaugh. So
Yes.
nine
If
times
I
out of
yeah,
10, I say Murdaugh.
yes. But I'm curious to hear, did you like the documentary as much as I did?
I did, yes, because especially as someone who I picked this case up relatively recently, like just with the murder trial, and I had like heard bits and pieces about, the roadside shooting and the
Mhm.
boat crash and all that other stuff. it was such a good like introduction, the way that they like covered all of the other craziness that
Mm-hmm.
happened leading up to the murder, because like that's basically when it like stops at the murder pretty much.
Yeah.
And they don't talk anything about the trial or anything. But I think it gives you like an even better understanding of this family and how powerful they were and the
Mm-hmm.
lengths that they would go to lie and like
Mm-hmm.
protect themselves, protect their kids.
Yep.
um it was but then it was also really freaking sad to like hear all these people talk about losing their friend Paul and losing their friend Mallory, and
Yeah.
like how like they had their cute little friend group and then it just got destroyed.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like you said, like I'd kind of heard, like I knew about his son.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I'd heard about the maid, the housekeeper or whatever, but I didn't know about I think his name was Steven,
Yep, Stephen Smith.
the hit and run,
Yeah,
quote
right.
unquote. Um, so it really was like, and hearing first account stories of it, and like I grew up in a small town. You grew up in a small town. Like they said it in the documentary, but it's like if there is a rumor that is continued to be told to you in the exact same way with the exact same information, it's no longer a rumor. Like there is
Mhm.
truth to what they're saying.
Right.
And hearing Paul's girlfriend talk about the time that he got drunk and made her let him drive and ran the car off the road and flipped it and like threw her phone because she was trying to call 911, and
Mhm.
had his parents and grandpa come pick up all the guns and clean up all the beer cans and essentially just tow away the car, and no one ever heard anything about it. It's just like
Right.
how like this family is indestructible. Like how do you overcome a family like this?
Right. And the way that they were trying to frame the other guy who was on the boat, Connor, and say that
Mhm.
he was driving the boat instead of Paul, when like it was very obvious to everyone that Paul was the one driving, and they still maintain to this day, like because Alex attorneys for the murder case, though they were supposed to represent Paul in the
Mhm.
boat case, they
Right.
are still maintaining that Paul wasn't driving the boat. And I'm like, when will y'all just let shit go and just like tell the truth?
I know, especially because I guess it was someone who was like reopening every allegation against the Murdaugh family. He
Mm-hmm.
was like, we literally had, I can't remember the terminology, so excuse me, professional boat metrics engineers, whatever, map out the way that everybody was sitting. And literally, they tried everything they could to show that this kid Connor could have been driving that boat, and it was not physically possible. The
Mm-hmm.
only person that could have been driving that boat was old Pawpaw, and it was old Pawpaw. And his brother Buster. Yeah.
No. It's so funny now on TikTok. I feel like I see it like people just call him Papa or Bus.
Bus, old Bus.
And he really thought that he was going to get up on that stand and refer to them as Pawpaw, Bus, and Mags. Like all of us haven't been hearing hours upon hours of conversations that he's had, phone calls, all these other things, where never once he has referred to them as Pawpaw and Bus.
I really think he thought he was about to dupe all of us. He thought, I'm an extravagant lawyer, and these people will see me cry on the stand and they will sympathize with me and think that there's no way I killed Pawpaw and Mags. There's no way.
Right. And it is interesting now because some of the jurors have spoken out publicly, and that is like a at least from the interviews that I've seen, where basically they were like, he sat on the stand, which was probably a mistake, and
Yep, his
he
lawyer
just
said, don't do it.
right. And they were like, we just knew that he was lying. Like he
Yeah.
was just putting on a show and he was
Mhm.
saying Paul, and like that it was gonna hit a set. It was like endearing or whatever. But they were like, we could just tell. And that comes, I feel like that is that's saying a lot, especially when they were the ones who were sitting like feet away from him, and you can just feel like the fakeness.
Oh, well, I guess in case y'all haven't been keeping up, they did find him guilty. And the judge sentenced him to 2 consecutive life terms. Also
Mhm.
really enjoyed the judge's speech at the end. I know that they just kind of like ramble at the end, but I felt like he really had a hard time doing it. Like he knew Alec, he knew the family. I feel like it was really hard for him to do. Um,
Mhm.
but they also came back in 3 hours.
So I'm gonna have to eat crow on this one because I could not have been more wrong. Here I was last week saying like maybe we'll have a verdict by this time next week. I don't know. I don't think we will. I could not have been more wrong. Apparently, they actually came to they got the verdict in 45 minutes, and it just took that long to file all the paperwork and do all that nonsense. I could not have been more wrong.
I know. Well, also I heard that the judge literally only sent them in there with like crackers and a bottle of water. Like he was like, "Nah, y'all ain't staying here all night. Like this is gonna be pretty quick."
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I was just expecting. So in my defense, like we were talking about before, I feel like, and I can even like get this sense listening to the jurors in these interviews being like, I don't know, just like all the evidence pointed to him, and it just, it all just made sense. To me, that is not like a conviction beyond reasonable doubt.
Mhm.
I personally still felt like there was a lot of reasonable doubt there, and they, like, just because there are no other leads on who did it doesn't mean that he's the one who did it. Now, I am in no way also defending Alec Murdaugh at all. But I just thought personally that there was a lot of reasonable doubt there. Like we talked about it, how it was like a Casey Anthony situation.
Mhm.
So I was very surprised. But they also sat there for 6 weeks and heard every single second of testimony, and
Yeah.
that's how long it took them.
I think probably what really did him in, and we all know this is a fact, him getting on the stand, but it was some of the specific things that he said. Like the judge brought this up in his sentencing where he was like, "Oh, the tangled webs we weave," or whatever it was that he said exactly. And it's kind of like, why would you say that? Like, why would you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
and then him trying to like backtrack literally on the stand, saying that things that the prosecutor was presenting to him that were literally documented that he said, he's like, "Oh, I don't think I said that."
Yeah. And that,
And then he lied about being in the kennel. And
yes.
then we had the Snapchat, and all of a sudden it was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I was there before I went to see my parents."
Right. And that is a big point that one of the jurors made, was like, how did he know exactly what time frame he needed to lie about? Because he admitted to lying about it, but how does he know exactly what time frame to lie about?
Yep.
And also, this did not sit with me right, but after the verdict, the defense team did a press conference,
Oh yeah.
and the lead prosecutor, someone asked, like, how did you feel about Alec getting on the stand? And they were kind of like, they didn't straight up say like, well, we didn't tell him to do it, but they were like, we thought that you get up there. And the lead defense attorney says he got on the stand because we thought he could pull it off. Pull it off.
I mean, that man in that whole interview though, like he had his sunnies on. He was kicking back. He was
Yeah.
chilling. People were asking him questions and he wasn't answering. And the
Yeah.
other guy had to jump in and be like, "Are you going to answer the question?" And he's like, "What question?" Like he was done. He was done. He was like, "It's over. They said what they said and I'm done here."
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that same team, they're all doing Alex financial crimes. Like those still have to, like, I think the judge said in his sentencing, like, because Judge Newman, the judge who did the
Uh-huh.
the murder trial, he's doing all of Alex cases,
Oh my God.
because he broke the law in so many different counties, instead of having so many different counties,
Mm-hmm.
so many different judges, they're just
Mm-hmm.
having this one Judge Newman, do all of his things. He said he has 99
Yep.
pending cases
Yep.
against Alec.
Yep.
Regardless if he was convicted of murder or not, it wasn't looking good.
Oh my gosh, I know. And it just, words cannot describe a man like this. Like, one thing that I didn't really know about was with the housekeeper or whatever. I still don't know that I have a clear idea of like maybe why they had incentive to kill her. I know they mentioned in the documentary that she found Alex pills, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming is probably a small piece of something else greater that she's probably found out about them. But the fact that he sued himself to get money and said he was going to give it to her kids and then just didn't. You didn't think anything was going to come of that ever?
I guess that just also says how, quote unquote, trusting he would, like, so many people trusted him. And it's a damn shame because now, like, at the end of the day, like, those people are legally entitled to their money. Like, you can't just be like, sorry, we don't have it. It's like, no, like, legally, like, I won $2 million in court.
Yeah.
Someone needs to pay it to me. So, the law firm and all the other lawyers and everything, they're on the hook for paying for it. And it's like, you selfish MF. Also, what are you doing, like, stealing millions of dollars from people? Millions. When
Millions.
and just what he was already making like $1 million a year anyways, and just salary.
I know. And then trying to
Like,
play it off to us like it was his oxy addiction. Sir, how much Oxycontin were you buying that you were spending even $1 million a year? He would he would have OD'd already if that was the case.
Yes. Even if you were buying the nicest Oxy money could buy.
Like, this is not real. Like, I cannot, like, this also goes to show just how dumb he really thinks the American people are, or just people in general. He just thinks they're all so beneath him. He's like, if I sell this drug addiction, they'll buy it. They'll relate.
Right.
They're from small towns in Southwest Virginia that literally got hit by the opioid crisis. Like, they're going to relate to me. It's like, sir.
Yeah, I killed him, but I was high on Oxy. So
he's like, maybe it was me, maybe it wasn't. I was high. I don't know.
But going back to Gloria Satterfield, did you know that they have permission to dig up her body?
I feel like I did remember hearing that. I hope they do, and I hope they find something out because, from what, God, all the girls had M names. Was it Morgan that dated Pawpaw?
Yes.
Okay. From what Morgan said, Pawpaw really loved her. They were thick as thieves. So I have a hard time believing he was involved. The mom, I don't know. I don't know if she would really get that deeply involved in something like that. Like, I feel like she probably definitely took advantage of what being a Murdaugh gave her, but I can't imagine that she actually participated in the shenanigans, if you will.
Well, but like you said earlier, when they got into the car accident, they all showed up to the scene. And also, too, I think she was really present at the boat crash scene.
That is true.
But I think it's just by like association, though. Like, she's with Alec and he's doing all the shenanigans, and I think probably the power's getting to her head too, and she thinks like, oh, I can do whatever I want too. And if you listen to the 911 call when Gloria falls down the stairs, so sus.
Yeah, it's weird.
So weird. They're like, I think she's like bleeding, like from her head.
She's sometimes conscious.
She fell.
Okay.
the
I just
911
had
operator.
Okay, this is just coming to me in this moment, so hear me out. Okay, so what we really learned from Morgan more than anything is that, God, I really hate to say it, but it might be better off for the world that Pawpaw is no longer here. I'm so sorry to say it, but he was a terrible person. He was a terrible person.
Somebody had to say it.
I'm here to say it, and I will stand by it.
I said that a few weeks ago to my boyfriend. I was like, Paul just sounds like he was kind of a bad dude.
Yeah, I'm
And
like, good riddance. So sorry for your loss, but he
yeah.
he was awful. He had no regard for other people. So she also talked about how like with his drinking and stuff, he turned into like a completely different person and was
Mhm.
very violent. So here I'm thinking maybe Miss Gloria was trying to say something to Paw about his
Mhm.
drinking and his behavior, and he lashed out and he hit her, pushed her, something. And that's why Miss Murdaugh had to get involved because it always has something to do with her kids when she gets involved. If it's just Alex, she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't care. But when her kids are involved, that's when she gets involved. So I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe Paw did do it.
That is a really interesting conspiracy because I think the timing also checks out too when he was in that like adolescent, like late teenagerhood stage where I'm
Mhm.
sure like his drinking was starting to pick up. He was doing crazy shit with his guns, like
Mhm.
Lord knows whatever else. And like Morgan said, Gloria was basically like
His
Papa's
mother.
mom.
Yeah.
So if she, said something or tried to hold him accountable, it is interesting though because so she didn't die immediately. She
Right.
was like in a coma for a few weeks and she
Mhm.
actually like she regained consciousness briefly after a few weeks and she said that the dogs pushed her down the
Tripped
stairs.
her or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird but also like
If it's
people
if it was
people go to
Paw.
go to great lengths to protect these people.
I know that's right. And we can't forget about old Buster. Okay, we can't leave Buster
Bust.
out of this. We can't leave old Bust out of this. Can't leave him out. So, in addition to all of the murder and just absolute disgustingness,
Mhm.
there was also a poor soul, Stephen, that was also allegedly killed in a hit and run.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna add a little context about how his body was found. Literally in the middle of the road, like right on the center yellow lines. His shoes were on, his shirt was on, his pants were on. There were no rips.
No road rash.
No, 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 no. And it was like his head was injured, but not like the back of his head.
Mhm.
Make it make sense, friends. Make it make sense. It doesn't. So they were alleging that Bust and Mr. Stephen, who was outwardly gay in the community,
Mhm.
which, as you can imagine, in a very small town in South Carolina, was not, the easiest thing to do. So props to him. And I loved that
Mhm.
they brought his friend on to talk about him a little bit and all that. I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah.
Um, that he was helping old Bus with his schoolwork and
Mhm.
other things. So really, they're saying that old Buster killed our man Steven because people were going to find out he was homosexual or involved with the man, and that was
Mhm.
going to embarrass his family.
I mean, there is definitely something there. What you said earlier, it's like when you hear a rumor so many times, it's not like that started from thin air.
Because
Like
he was
there's
calling,
always some truth in it.
yes, he was the guy who was reopening all the cases, literally was calling randoms. Like, I mean, these were random informants. I can't remember what they called them exactly on there, but there were
Mhm.
like five, six, seven of them. And every single one of them said, well, I don't know for sure, but I heard that Buster had something to do with it. I mean, they had police reports where every single time you saw someone reporting Buster in it.
Mhm.
So it's just like, I know that they were tight with the police officers and all of that stuff that handled all the cases and everything. But I'm just like, my God, like, why is no one like, it literally just went cold, is what happened. Like,
Mhm.
it just disappeared. They never
Mhm.
talked about it again.
Right.
It's nuts.
This, I think the case also shed some light on the fact that like obviously the police down there are kind of sus to begin with, but I think a lot of it like isn't really their fault though because like and I think they try to say this too is like their tiny little police force isn't really equipped to handle really sensitive evidence in a double homicide
Mm-hmm.
case,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like in order to do like really hardcore investigations like that when, you know, the death happened 5 years ago or whatever it is. You know, I think that they like lack the resources to really do this investigation that needs to happen. But hopefully now that this is like shed some light on that, where it's like, yes, there are some things that are lacking, but this is what we can do to do better.
And correct me if I'm wrong, haven't they reopened both cases now?
Gloria and Steven.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's some fucking justice. I mean, this man, he literally cannot get any more time. But it would just be nice to know. And you know what I was
Yeah.
really, really genuinely hoping was when Alec got found guilty and he knew he was about to serve those 2 consecutive life sentences. I wish he just would have just fucking laid it out for us. Like he
I
was just
know.
like, you know what? You're right. You're right. My wife was running away from me and I said, pow, pow. And then my son was like, oh, you're killing mom. I'm going to go call the cops. Pow, pow. Like, I just want you to admit it. Now, maybe he'll pull a OJ Simpson on us and write how he would have committed the murders if he actually did it. But it just sucks with like where we are now with criminality, murder, whatever in this world, that it's almost never there is a smoking gun. Like there's almost never one piece of evidence that just like is like wipe your hands clean, done, he's guilty.
Right.
Because while we all in our souls, or I should say the majority of us, I saw y'all free Alex. Um you just don't know though. Like we don't know. Like there's still like that little sound in your brain that's like, yeah, I know you really think he did it, but like only he knows.
I know. Yeah. And that's why I'm so shocked that they came back in 45 minutes. Cause I'm like, if I were one of the jurors, I would go in thinking like, I'm like 85% sure that he did it, but I'm gonna need one of y'all to like hold my feet to the fire and show me like get me to 100.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've kind of heard, it sounds like the Snapchat really was what did him in, because he was really holding tight to that alibi, that timeline. He was never down there. He was at his parents, and then all of a sudden it was proven that that was just completely untrue. I
Right.
think that was probably like their quote unquote smoking gun. Like that was it for them. Like they heard that
Right.
and they were like, he did it.
Yeah. That's the key evidence. I mean, that's what I mean, the investigation was going on for almost a year. They couldn't get Paul's phone unlocked for like a year. And that's why it took so long.
Yeah.
Because Apple is still being a bunch of assholes and like not helping the FBI unlock phones. So dead ass, like the FBI guy testified, like they dead ass like have to try like every single possible combination of numbers to unlock someone's phone, and they have to abide by the whole thing when it's like try again in 5 minutes. Like they have to do, so it took them a legit year to break into Paul's phone.
And the combination was probably like boob. I don't know. Like I'm sure it wasn't that complex. It's pawpaw.
Right. They say that they try, you know, their birthday, friends' birthdays, whatever. But anyway, so that's what like Alec thought for a year, probably, that he got away with it. And it wasn't until they finally got the Snapchat video that they finally indicted him with the charges. And he's like, well, shit, how am I going to lie myself out of this one?
Yeah. How do I get out of a Snapchat video?
I know. So going back to what you were saying about like, it's so hard now. We don't have smoking guns. It's even crazier because we have all like your phone is with you all the time. Your car is tracking everything. Your smart speakers listening to everything. Like it is so hard to just completely be like off the radar.
I mean, I guess it is like you were saying with Apple, like I know it's like their privacy agreements with users or whatever that makes it so hard to like break. And it's like one of those things where you're kind of like, oh, that's nice to know, but it's also like, this is a murder. Like, you know, you're like, oh, cool to know that like it would be really hard for them to like get into my phone. Not that I'm gonna do anything like Paw or Alec, but you know, it's still one of those things where it's like, oh my god, this is like literally like 500,000 murders. Like, let's just cut to the chase.
Right. The person is deceased. We're not gonna hack into their Instagram and post embarrassing pictures. Like, we're literally the FBI. Please.
Please do something.
Yeah. So that just blew my mind. The guy was like, there is no workaround. Like, we just have to try until we get the right combination.
Could you imagine that being your job at the FBI?
And just, you try 10 times and it's like, oh, wait 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
Try
I couldn't.
again.
I could never. I would literally be like, I'm either quitting or killing myself.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they just get some interns to do it who are desperate and are like, want to work for the FBI. And they're like, all right, unlock this phone.
you
Gen
figure
Z.
this out now.
Ugh.
Ugh.
All I can say is just what a ride. I have the post-trial blues right now, because I was just so enthralled, and it just like had, even though like I said I was pretty sure that he did it, it still just like had me thinking all day long, like about the
Mhm.
case and just all of the evidence that was presented. So I'm like, can we get another case to just like take America by storm?
Could someone else like murder their family for me? Thanks.
Well, so now I guess I need to get into the Idaho murders. Because you know what I'm talking about?
No, I do not.
You don't know about this? It was in November. 4 college students in
Oh, yes,
Idaho
yes,
were all
yes,
stabbed to
yes.
death.
Right.
So that guy's trial is
Oh,
coming.
yeah, that one's an interesting one too, honestly. I think what I know so far is like maybe he had like DM'd one of the girls and she didn't answer or something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely like stalkerish vibes, like DM'd her, and I think he knew, like some of their favorite bars that they would go to, and he would like go to the bar too. So to me, I mean, it doesn't really seem like a big like question mark to me. Like, it kind of definitely seems like he did it, but he's not taking a plea deal or anything. He's obviously gone to trial. So
But he like I don't remember exactly what I heard, but like he's like got like a PhD in criminology or is like getting his PhD in criminology. Like this dude is in depth in the system. And
mhm.
I feel like I remember them talking about like his thesis or something was like about how to get away with the perfect crime or something like that.
God. I didn't know that part. I definitely know he was working on getting his PhD in criminology, criminal justice, whatever. Um, and yeah, so it's like, I mean, yeah, he was on the loose for a solid like week or two, but they eventually caught his ass in Pennsylvania. But he like left his DNA on stuff. But some people were arguing though, so they found him because he left a knife sheath at the crime scene and they
Mhm.
tested it for DNA. And they also got his like after they got murdered, they asked for everyone's Ring doorbell cams, obviously, and they like
Mhm.
found the car that was there around the time that
Mhm.
they were murdered,
Mhm.
whatever. Um some people are saying that he like kind of wanted to get caught because it's like, are you like, if you're obviously this big criminology guy, what are you
He's like
doing?
testing the
Like,
system.
yeah. And I heard too that he was wearing Vans at the time, because you know how Vans have like that like
Mhm.
crisscross
Logo.
pattern.
Yeah.
It was snowing outside and they saw like Vans tracks in the snow. But then also there were 2 other roommates who were in the house at the time who were awake, who were completely unharmed. Even though one of them came like face to face with him. He
Oh,
literally didn't touch her and left,
this is
which is
weird.
really weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, are you literally testing the system? Like, were you just trying to see like if they would actually figure it out? Because if you were trying to do that, you would think you would at least try and be like sneakier, like put on one of the
Right.
bitch's shoes and walk outside. Like, come on, that's like crime one on one. You don't ever wear your shoes.
Right, exactly. I mean, granted, like millions of people have Vans, but it's like that is such a recognizable, like I'm a shoe expert now because I could like find a shoe pair and be like, yep, that's from a pair of Vans.
That's Vans for sure. Yeah, and it's just leaving another thing that would be so easy to tie to you once they find you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't own a single pair of Vans. So like if they thought I was a suspect, it's like, well, she ain't got no Vans. So it's like, probably didn't do it. She wasn't there. So it's
Thank you
like
for
I
your
don't
time,
know.
ma'am.
Yeah, right. It's just like, okay, so we found your car, we found the sweatshirt, and you have Vans. It's just like it's adding on, man. Like you just keep
Right.
adding the evidence towards yourself.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, they found his ass in Pennsylvania. He hightailed it out of there and drove across the country. But
Wasn't that where he was from, or he went to undergrad there or something like that?
yeah, he went to his parents' house. And oh yeah, they went to his parents' house. And so they needed, they can't just like arrest someone willy-nilly. That you have to get like so much evidence. They staked outside of his parents' house and got their trash and took DNA off of someone's off their trash and matched it with the knife sheath.
Okay, I see what y'all are doing, police. Okay.
Yeah.
If he was testing y'all did not fail. You did not let him
Mm-mm.
down. That is for sure.
Um, I don't know why I didn't mention this 5 minutes ago, but are you aware that there's also another Murdaugh documentary out there?
Is it on Hulu?
No, it's on HBO.
HBO.
It's called
No.
Low Country.
Okay, so I think the reason I saw it on Hulu is because we have HBO through Hulu. So yes, I have
Okay.
seen that it is there and it exists. I have not watched it.
Okay. Because I have seen that one is actually even better than the Netflix one. This one's a little bit older.
How is it
Huh?
How could it possibly be better? I'm super intrigued at this point.
Yeah. So I just found this girl on TikTok who just posts about documentaries all day. So obviously I'm gonna follow her, and she just like reviews different documentaries that she watches. And after the Netflix one came out, she was like, Netflix the Netflix one is meh compared to the one on HBO.
Oh, okay.
Because she
Interesting.
said that one even goes back into like their family history.
Oh, okay.
Because there's
Okay.
also like another suspicious death in their family. Like Alex's grandpa died from like a train accident or something. It's really suspicious. I don't know.
Randolph's daddy.
Yes.
Old Randolph. That man was like 900 years old out here picking up children from fucking car accidents. He's
I know. Just like having to go to the hospital after the boat accident. Like, you got me fucked up.
oh my gosh, I know. Also, I know we're going back a little bit, but I saw an article that said that Buster actually collapsed after leaving his dad's trial. And that he's like retreated to their island or something. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, let's be honest, Alex's brother should be in there too. That motherfucker was sitting out there looking like he was like, I'm here to support my brother. You are guilty too. I know you were involved. I just know it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't hear anything about Buster collapsing. But I did know that he and his girlfriend are now at a condo in Hilton Head, which is in South
Oh,
Carolina. I know that the Murdaughs like wanted to move there before the murders, but anyway, so Buster and his girlfriend have been there, and apparently this is actually really sad. It kind of makes me sad. So people have been stalking them, of
yeah, of
course.
course.
Which like I would too. I'm kind of
I
a
know. I
creep
was
like
like, wait,
that.
doesn't Will's grandma live here?
She sure does.
I'm like, we're gonna go pay her a visit next weekend.
Home's not that big, honey. Um, but apparently, like, you know how when you close your blinds, like sometimes there's still like a hole or like a little slit where you can see outside. Someone legit took a photo of Buster through that little hole in the blinds. Like he had the blinds closed, and someone took a picture of him and like sold it somewhere on the internet. And so they've like had to call the police because they know that people are taking
Yeah.
pictures or people are following them. And like, I get it. You know, poor kid, his life is a spectacle and he may or may not also be guilty of murder,
Oh,
but
he definitely is. But I mean, even the judge said something about that, like after the sentencing. He was like, leave these people alone, please. Like, if the media, like, I mean, at least this is like random people, likely. I don't know. He doesn't have as much control about that. But he was
Mhm.
literally like, if I hear about the media, like, giving these people a hard time, like, I will handle it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I feel badly for him because obviously, I mean, he went to trial every single day, but
Mhm.
obviously he hasn't really been very public. And
Yeah.
and that's totally his prerogative. Like he can be as public or as private as he wants to be. And it's like, yes, I would drive past his condo. I would totally do that and just like take a lap. I what I'm not about to do is get my telescopic lens and point it at the hole in the blinds
And
to
catch
get
a
a
trespassing charge. No thanks.
yes. Also, like, what he's in his apartment. Like, obviously, you got to his apartment. What do you like? What do you expect?
I know. And it's like, what could he have possibly been doing? Watching TV?
Oh my gosh,
Oh, scandalous.
crazy.
He was watching his dad's trial on television. I
So
mean,
I felt kind of bad about that because
yeah.
I mean that just kind of is crossing a line to me. But and also, you kind of bring it. I mean, not bringing it upon yourself, but like I said, he did go to trial every single day. Meanwhile, none of Maggie's family at all appeared in trial at all, except for her sister and her husband on the day that they were called to testify.
Mm.
Other than that, her parents not there, her siblings not
Damn.
there. Like they wanted nothing to do with the trial.
I mean, I imagine. I guess I should say I can't imagine how difficult it would be to sit there and watch, especially if they believe he did it and know that he's gonna take the stand and talk some bullshit. Like,
Right.
there's no way I could sit there and watch that and not like get thrown in jail for what is it called when
Obstruction of justice.
you're in the court and you won't shut up even though the judge told you to shut up.
Oh, I
What
don't
is that
know.
called? Crap, what is that called?
Mm,
Anyway, just
disobeying.
disrupting the court is what I would be
Yeah.
thrown in jail for because I'd be like, you better shut your freaking mouth, you liar.
Um, okay, so that is good that you're aware that it exists. So we can try to I also really, really want to watch it. Because I just can't get enough, even though like I watch this stuff and I'm like, there's no real information presented here, but I'm still just like completely
Involved.
invested.
Yeah, 100%. I understand.
So I mentioned that TikToker. I just want to run through like a quick little list that I have
Okay.
of documentaries that I want to watch that are
Okay.
either coming out soon or are already out. So this is from at Kate Reviews Docs on TikTok. I
Okay.
just found her, totally recommend, because she will go through a ton of documentaries and just give like a brief explanation of them and what
Mhm.
she rates them. So the first one is, I watched a trailer for this one a while ago and I'm very intrigued. It's MH370, the plane that disappeared. It's about the Malaysian Airlines flight that
Mhm.
disappeared.
Okay. Okay.
They just put out a documentary on Netflix about it.
Okay.
Um, Kind of creepy to think about, but I'm also very intrigued because this plane literally fell off the face of the earth and we have no idea why.
Has there ever been one done about Amelia Earhart? There has to have been. I mean, you just like triggered me with
Probably.
the airplane disappearing off the face of the earth. I'm like, where's Amelia? What's she doing?
She's just on an island somewhere. She's
Yeah,
chilling.
she living life. I'm gonna have to look into
I'm
that too.
sure.
I don't remember hearing about that, but that does sound interesting.
Um, so yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Um, Also on Netflix, they're putting out a documentary called Waco, American Apocalypse, which is about the Branch Davidians. Did
Mm-hmm.
you watch the like fictional show called Waco?
I did not. I did not.
It was super good. It came out, well, I feel like I watched it right at the beginning of Corona. So it came out a few years ago. Super good. Did you watch Friday Night Lights?
Briefly.
Okay, never mind. One of the main guys in Friday Night Lights plays
Was it the dad?
David. No, Coach Taylor, no. Um, so yeah, but this is a legit documentary about the Branch Davidians. If you
Okay.
know, you know. Um, Next one, I'm not really, I don't know, I'm kind of scared of this one,
Okay.
but it's Jared from Subway catching a monster on Discovery
You
Plus.
will 100% catch me watching that. 100%.
Really? Why
Oh yeah.
100%?
Jared, I he was one of those people that from the moment I saw his tall, little skinny, cold cut eating ass on television, I knew there was something wrong with him.
He
I
was up to
knew it.
no good.
Yes, I was like, there's something off about this individual. He should not be around people. I
Uh-huh.
just knew it. I always in my gut, every time I saw him, I just felt like, ugh. And so when everything came out, I was like, try to tell y'all. So I'm definitely interested in that. I want to hear all the info.
I'm surprised that it took this long, honestly, to get a
I
documentary.
know.
But apparently, according to Kate Reviews Docs on TikTok, she said that it's a hard watch.
Oof.
So I don't know if it gets pretty graphic. So that's why I was kind of like,
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure wasn't he involved with children?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that is hard to watch.
Either abusing or seeing sexual assault materials, things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next one that I want to watch is called The Lesson is Murder. This one's on Hulu.
Okay.
So it is about psychological criminologist and ex-FBI special agent Dr. Brianna Fox and her class of graduate students study convicted murderers. They evaluate their personality traits and develop psychological profiles.
Oh, that does sound interesting.
So it's very similar to that show Mindhunter on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch that.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Okay.
Where basically they interviewed convicted murderers
Mm-hmm.
and tried to like gather like what connected the murders, like what personality traits they all had
Mm-hmm.
to try to like figure out future murderers, you
Did
know.
you watch Criminal Minds?
No.
Oh, it's the same thing, basically.
Oh, there you go.
Because I
But
was
this
like
is a
sitting here, like they're FBI profilers is essentially what they are. So they're using that
yeah.
information to like actually figure out who the killer is through like traits and what type of person it would be rather than just physical evidence. So I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
probably very similar to what they were doing.
Yeah, sounds like
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one, I'm gonna guess that you are 0% interested in this one. It's actually an old watch, but it's called Lenox Hill on
Uh-huh.
Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And it follows the lives of four doctors that work in a New York City hospital. So it's about like their lives and drama at the hospital. It basically like real life Grey's Anatomy. Um, it's a few years old, but they are coming out with a spinoff later this month that's called Emergency NYC. And so it's about, I think, doctors at different hospitals in New York. I love a good doctor drama. Are you out on Lenox Hill?
I loved Grey's Anatomy. I've seen every episode up until like season 15 like 700 times. So,
Mhm.
it is weird to me that I don't find it interesting. Um, but I feel like if I gave it a watch, I would enjoy it. So don't count me 100% out, but not
Okay.
100% in.
It's towards the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
I gotcha. There was another documentary on Netflix a few years ago that was about like doctors with like really specific specialties.
Mm-hmm.
And like for example, it was this brain surgeon who he would like repair people's brains, but they would be awake during it because
Oh,
he would
mm-hmm.
like repair, their like auditory senses, and the person would have to be
Mm-hmm.
awake to tell them like whether or not they could hear.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. And so it was just really, really fascinating to me. I don't know why, but you got to know them personally and stuff. But this seems more like it's about their life and their family and like personally.
Okay. Okay.
But it came really highly recommended from this TikToker. So
Okay.
give it a try.
The lady said what she said.
All right. Is there anything that is like immediately on your list that you need to watch ASAP?
I feel like a lot of the things that I have recently watched would recommend or things that I want to watch are not necessarily like reality.
Mhm.
The one that I can think of though is have you seen Perfect Match on Netflix?
No, I've seen like previews for it, but I haven't
Yeah,
watched it.
I haven't watched it, but that is definitely one that I'm interested in because it sounds like, from what I'm told, it's literally just like the rejects from all the other love shows coming together for their last shot.
Right. I love a good desperation show.
I know. I'm like, I can only imagine what these people are gonna like. They're like, it didn't work out on the last show. Like, I gotta make this one really count.
Right. Gotta go all out.
I gotta really stick it in this one. So yes, y'all all know that I'm like a horror junkie. I love thrillers and horror movies. So I am
Mhm.
gonna give one recommendation, even though it is not reality. And I will say this one, like, you really have to be a fan of like the horror thriller genre because
Uh-huh.
it's so fucking bizarre
Oh
that
gosh.
honestly, like, if you don't appreciate it, like, you're not going to get down with it. It's called Infinity Pool. It is on Amazon Prime, which I really hate to, recommend any movie that you're going to have to pay for, even though you pay for the service. But that's why I think Amazon Prime is stupid, and Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
can go fuck himself. But anyway, so good. It's like almost like even hard to describe what it's about because it's so bizarre.
Really.
Kristen, I think you actually would like this one. It's definitely, there are some gory parts,
Hmm.
but like it's really like there's like parts where you see something happening, you're like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is happening. And then you find out it's not actually happening.
Oh, so it's like a psychological thriller kind of deal.
Yes, yes. So it's like the premise really is that there's like this group of people that always go to this random island, and it's like you're essentially like in this resort and you're not allowed outside of the resort. Like
Hmm.
like people are not allowed to go beyond the walls because it's like dangerous. It's so dangerous or whatever. And so this couple essentially takes another couple outside of the resort, and then it's kind of like all of the repercussions that occur because they went outside of the resort. It's
Interesting. Okay, so you said it's on
Amazon
excuse me,
Prime.
it's called Infinity Pool. Is that the name?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Interesting. Okay, I can get down with that. I'll have to check it out.
yes. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Even though you have to pay for it. I'm sorry, girlies and guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but it'll be worth every penny.
But like I feel like just because we have so much content at the touch of our fingers, we forget that sometimes you have to like pay for good content. Um so it ain't no thing. It'll remind me of the past of like having to, when you had to like ask your parents if you could like rent a movie off from Verizon or whatever, or go to Redbox.
Or Blockbuster, if you know, you know.
Yes.
Oh,
All right, cool. So Infinity Pool, everyone go check it out. I'll watch the trailer first and then I'll make a decision.
okay.
But color me intrigued for sure.
Okay, okay.
Um,
I also saw M. Night Shyamalan. He has a new movie on, was it on Netflix?
it, I think it might be on Hulu now. Knock at the Cabin.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it was in theaters, and then I think I feel like I saw it on streaming too. I want to say it was on Hulu.
Mhm.
But that one looks crazy.
Yeah, definitely
I
gonna be watching that.
I was too scared to watch it in theaters just because I feel like you can just escape it so much better when you're watching at home. But yeah, definitely piqued my interest, especially because every single time I saw a trailer for it, it showed like some different scene or something. So like right when I thought I understood the movie, they would like
Mhm.
show this other thing. I'd be like, what? Like
But see, that's
what?
why I can't watch a trailer. I feel like they give too much away.
Really?
Yes, I will. I never, if I can help it, I don't watch a trailer before I watch a movie. I don't like
So
to do it.
you just be going in raw.
I like to try my best to. Yes. Because especially like when you're watching thrillers and horrors, they give away all the best scenes in the
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Or you can at least like infer, like
Mhm.
what happens or what the best scenes are going to be and stuff.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I just be scrolling through Netflix, watching the previews.
Yeah, right. Just watching it play in the corner, you're like, interesting.
On to the next.
On to the next. And I'm sorry to keep us gabbing, but that is the point of the podcast, I suppose. I'm really
Mhm.
curious, Kristen, do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite movie? I do. Well, I have a few.
Yeah.
I always say My Big Fat Greek Wedding
Oh,
is up there.
such a good one.
Literally comfort movie. Like it's like wrapping myself in a big warm blanket on a rainy day. I love it so much.
Mhm.
And Legally Blonde is up there.
That's another good one.
I mean,
Mhm.
don't ask me to like think any harder than that, because I'm gonna be like, well, like from the last 10 years or from
Yeah.
early to that, like,
Are we doing each genre?
right, yeah, yeah, for real. Should I think about like, my favorite movie is Inception because it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen, but whatever. What's your favorite movie?
I'm again very much like you. I could probably figure out so many, but the first two that always come to my mind is White Chicks and Taken with Liam Neeson.
Those are like at the complete opposite ends of the spectrum, though. So that's cool.
I know. Oh my God. White Chicks is definitely like highly held for me. It's so funny. I love it so much. But something about Taken, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like I wish I could have been kidnapped so my dad could have come and rescued me or something.
Mhm.
I mean, possibly, but I love that movie. I've seen it a bajillion times.
I feel like once a week I say, and for the lady, perhaps a salad.
Perhaps not. Whereas I feel like at least once a week, I'm like, I don't know who you are, but I have a very specific set of skills. I will find you and I will kill you.
Have you seen all of the like subsequent Takens?
Yeah, they're not as good, but
Okay.
they
They
were
don't
okay.
hit like the original.
No, they don't. They don't.
I mean, it's hard to reproduce something like that.
Yeah. I mean, good for them for being able to get, 3 movies out of it, but nothing will compare to the first one.
Right. You never forget your first.
Exactly.
All right. On that note, do you have anything else before we wrap up for this week?
No, I'm sure everyone is done listening to me gab today.
No, they want the extended cut.
They have to pay for that.
Yeah, we should start up like a Patreon or something like that so our moms can subscribe and give us $3.
Oh my gosh,
a
and they would
month.
have no idea. I'd just be like, Mom, they just put in your credit card information. They never charge you. It's fine.
Laurel subscribed for 20 years.
I know. We like die and she's still subscribed.
She a real one though. She a real one.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's it that we have for
That's all, folks.
we covered a lot, but I mean, we're just really complex people. So in this complex world.
Exactly.
So we hope you all enjoyed. As always, if you could please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. And follow us on Instagram. We are at Gossip Girlies XO. Hit us up. We post cute and fun stuff on there because we are cute and fun ourselves. So yeah.
Well said.
All righty. Well, thank you all for listening, and we will catch up with you next week. Bye.
Bye.